Hey y'all, it's early on a Saturday morning. Hubby's sleeping and I'm anxious to do a tea tasting. I haven't tasted a new tea in a little bit because we've been so busy. We're doing this from TeaLula, which is near Chicago. And this is the Aislaby. I don't know how to say it. Aislaby. Aislaby estate, and it's an FBOP1 from Sri Lanka. Now, I love Ceylon teas. They're some of my favorite for black teas. I got this one because my book says to try one from Uva Tea District, and you see that this one is located in the heart of Uva. The cooler temperatures, ample sunshine, and moderate rainfall of this high elevation estate produce a refreshing, astringent cup achieved by a longer steep time in water off the boil. So it says there's 50 grams, yields 20 to 25 cups. So I don't like astringent tea, and I am going to taste this just like I've tasted all of my other teas. This says to brew it 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces of water at boiling point for 3 minutes. But one ingredient, that's what I love to see in my tea. So I'm excited to try this. Although I don't like astringent tea, normally Ceylon is known to be less astringent, and I hope the lighting is okay. I have been redoing our living room, and this is my new tea corner. I've been trying to get things up from the basement, so we've been selling things and bringing things up there in the basement and just using them. And this is a table that's actually a toy table that used to be my father's, but I'm going to sometimes undrape it, sometimes dress it up with things. And so right now I kind of I'm trying to get a fall theme going with these 2 colors in my living room. And I think they go really well together. There's a fall pillow I hand sewed with some leftover material. I just took the shape of the material I had and sewed it and stuffed it. So let's get going. So I've had my first sniff out of the bag, the dry. Man, it's good. And it's so early in the morning. I hope you can see this. Don't have enough light. Here's my computer station, and I've got my notes going on there. So I've put a few on my computer table so you can see, kind of scattered them. They are more of a CTC type of tea. Do my usual routine. I'm going to tear my little butter dish. I love my butter dishes. Since this is CTC cut, tear, curl, and more of the tea will be exposed to the water, rather than doing my 5 ounces, I think I'm going to do 3.5 in the gaiwan. There, we're starting to get a little more light in here. I think the sunrise is getting closer. But I always brew everything at 20 seconds first, and then I move up my time subsequently. It's a beautiful traditional brown color. Let's see if I can pour. I got my hubby a cup for when he gets up. He'll want to do the taste testing as well. And there you have it. So here are my tasting notes for this Aislaby estate, FBOP1. The F stands for flowery, B for broken, O for orange, P for Pico, and I think the 1 stands for grade up of that. I got from online that this is a coarser and broken with some tips. Didn't look to see, and I'm not seeing really any like golden tips, but there might be tips in there. This is a rating. Now I think ratings come from different countries. Different countries use different rating scales. And this one is used in Assam, Ceylon, which is this one, Indonesia, China, and Bangladesh. And in South America, coarser black broken. This tea is from TeaLula, and these ladies are fantastic. I would suggest you go find them on Facebook and watch them. They just make you smile, and they do a lot of educational stuff too. Today's date, this is a black tea. And the origin. So the origin is this Aislaby estate, and I'm afraid to pronounce these names, but we have a Bandarawela, which says post town. We have a district of Haputali, and the Uva province is what you hear mostly for this kind of tea. You hear to get teas from Uva. But you see here this website. I have it, I thought I had it linked down here, but they have their own website, and it has pictures and photos and things that you can find. I think this is a website for the history of Ceylon tea, but they also have their own website. I didn't grab any photos of that. So I looked at it online, and here is where you see this Bandarawela is located, and then I zoomed out, and this is where it is here in Sri Lanka in association to the whole country. And here is a map of the districts in Sri Lanka. So you can see this is the Uva district that is popular for teas. Processing, I've got broken and CTC, cut, tear, curl, very small pieces. So when you have more surface area, you can use less tea. That's why they prefer the CTC in tea bags. But now this CTC is a bit larger than you would find in tea bags, so it is, you can tell, a better quality than a tea bag. Don't want you to confuse that. From the website, this is what we were reading on the bag already, so I'm not going to repeat that. Oh, I did. Here, look. This Sonoko Tea About Us owned tea garden. I thought I had gotten pictures of it. Isn't it a fabulous place? And look, you see the little sign that it's the farm, and you see the ladies out there, and how beautiful, what a beautiful place this is. I would go there and hang out. Look at their pool. But their notes on their website, I just grabbed a few of them. It says this estate is 50 acres and 42.36 acres of tea, and they also produce 1.75 acres of coffee, and 2.75 acres are used for poultry, meaning growing chicken, and vegetable farming. So this is a very diverse estate. They do
a lot of different things. I'm really curious about their coffee. Maybe if I could start looking for it. My husband likes coffee, I do not, but it would be fun to have coffee from the same estate to see what it tastes like. You can see there they employ 28 people and have 294 residents on the estate. Wow, that's huge. All right, and how much income they generate. So down to my tasting notes. So when I first smelled it out of the bag, I got fruit. I got that classic lychee tea smell in the dry. But then again, lychee is a common flavor of tea, and I did buy that other tea and do the tasting recently so I could learn what lychee smelled like, and I was wondering if that influenced me at all. But I did smell it. That's like all I could smell in the dry. But the wet changed, and then I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me smell the dry again. Let me smell the wet. Let me smell the dry. And they did smell the same, but yet different. So there was still the lychee in the wet, but very earthy came out, and it was very pleasant to smell. And then later I picked up on another secondary to the earthy, which was a wooded, kind of like if you were hugging a tree and smelling the bark. I do like to hug trees. um, so the color was brown on my color spectrum that I created. It's the traditional classic tea color. Now the body was light, almost like water, yet there was still something there, so it was more than water. I wonder if it changed throughout. I wasn't paying attention to that. I just took another sip. Nope, still in the light. Astringency. Well, that scared me because this is the part that I don't like if it's too astringent. And tea in the packaging kind of warned us of that. So I was usually your Ceylon teas are not very astringent, but this one the packaging warned me and the description. So it was low, very low in the bright light category when I only steeped it for 20 seconds, and I really liked it. It didn't bother me at all. The bright light category is my favorite category. The second one below that is smooth, and yeah, it definitely wasn't smooth. When you have smooth astringency, you definitely know it's smooth tea. But it was very pleasant, just where I had expected a Ceylon tea, just right for me. And then I did it for about 40 seconds, and it did change the astringency. It was still in the same category, I thought, but at the very top of the category, almost to 3, uh, but not quite. And I don't really like teas in the 3 category. So this is like a borderline, and I kind of felt like if I steeped it even a little bit longer, I wouldn't like the tea at all. Maybe I'm wrong, I didn't try that. So I felt like it was a very unforgiving tea. I call a tea forgiving if I inadvertently brew it too long and it still is not too astringent. And this one's very unforgiving, so you have to be very careful. Taste. Um, it does taste like the wet aroma, and there's a slightly tart lychee taste. Um, and I was reading online, and it said this is unmistakably Uva region flavor. So I spent a long time trying to embed that flavor in my mind so that I would learn what Uva region flavor was. Um, the 40-second steeps, the flavors did change, and there was some malty, which is traditional for tea, that came out. And but I would not steep it any longer for my taste buds. You know, it recommended 3 minutes. Nope, not for me. Um, I was almost to the point that I needed sugar, and I'm trying to drink tea without sugar and buy tea that I can drink without sugars for health benefits. Not that I won't have tea and sugar, I just try to limit it. Um, the third steep, I went back to a shorter time, maybe about 30 seconds, and it got better again. So I was happy about that. Sometimes if I steep it too long, it like ruins the tea. The flavor just stays too astringent, and no matter how short I brew it, it stays not tasting well. But this one, when I went back, it did correct itself. Finish. I put lingering and aromatic. Um, that's where that tart taste was. It was just lingering in the finish. It just like hung around in the back of the throat. And the second steep, the lingering really became strong, and I got the feeling that, hey, this would be good with a scone or a slightly sweet cookie to help wash away the strong flavor lingering in the back of my throat. So this might be a good tea to pair with. It might be good for pairing. Um, if there is such a thing, I am feeling both tart and bitter in the longer steep. So I can't imagine a food that's tart and bitter, but that's kind of what I was getting, and it was also a little drying. So I preferred the shorter steep because I didn't have that drying and the bitterness that I don't like in things that are too astringent that kind of hung around in the finish. Um, about after the fifth steep, the finish did level off and become more earthy than tart and bitter. So that was good. But I kind of got the feeling that maybe, you know, 6 or 7 steeps and I'm going to be running out of tea. I don't know. I'm still working on that. I gave it 4 hearts. I did love it because I love most Ceylon teas. With careful steeping time, it was quite delightful. But I did knock it down 1 heart because it's an unforgiving tea. Um, should I inadvertently steep it too long? However, that also makes it very versatile. I try to keep things in mind. So it can be used with milk and sugar, or if you steep it short, it can be used without milk and sugar. Uh, I also thought that maybe it might be a great tea for blending. So you could blend it with other ingredients and maybe tone down some of that astringency. They would kind of counteract. You would have to know all the sciences of that to blend it well. I thought I might also make a good cold brew tea, especially if some fruit were infused with it. But I like doing that anyway. I hope you've enjoyed my tasting notes.